Hello friends, today we are going to discuss some of the basic concepts of electromagnetics which will be used further in the study of microwaves. So the electromagnetic waves are the oscillations that propagate through free space with the velocity of light. Now here the free space is the space that does not interfere with the normal radiation and propagation of electromagnetic waves, no magnetic or the fractional fields, no solid bodies, and no ionized particles. Now, it was predicted that all electromagnetic waves travel in free space with a velocity which can be represented by this formula V equals to 1 over under root of mu naught over epsilon naught, which is approximately equal to 3 into 10 raised to power 8 meter per second, where the mu naught is the permeability of the free space, which is equals to 4 pi into 10 raised to power minus 7 Newton per meter, and epsilon naught, this is the permittivity of free space, which is equals to 8.854 into 10 raised to power minus 12 farad per meter. Now these values are simply the distributed value of L and C of free space. Now the electromagnetic waves are similar to the propagation or outward travel of water waves on a pond after a stone has been thrown into it, with the only difference that water waves are longitudinal, that are oscillations in the direction of propagation, and electromagnetic waves are transverse in nature, which means oscillations perpendicular to the direction of propagation. Also, the direction and the propagation of the electric field and the magnetic field are mutually perpendicular in electromagnetic waves. These electric and the magnetic field vary with the time, and these are governed by the certain physical law given by a set of equations known as Maxwell equation, which we will study later on in our lecture. Further, if the wave is traveling through a medium other than free space, it can be shown that the velocity will decrease. It is known that the absolute permittivity of a medium is epsilon equals to epsilon r into epsilon naught, where epsilon r is the relative permittivity or the dielectric constant, which may vary between 1 to 10 for most microwave elements, and epsilon naught is the permittivity of free space. Now the frequency, these are nothing but these are number of cycles per second, and we know the unit of this is hertz. Also, these frequency remains constant once set, even if medium is changed. Next term is the period. This is the time of one complete cycle. Normally it is equated as T equals to 1 over f, where f is the frequency of oscillations. Wavelength, this is the physical distance the wave travel in one cycle. Mathematically, lambda equals to c into t, where t is the time period. Wavelength of EM wave in a dielectric medium is shorter than in free space. Lambda equals to c over f multiplied by under root of ER. Now let us discuss what are transverse electromagnetic waves. Now in this case, both the electric and the magnetic vector are at right angle to the direction of propagation. Means the E and H both are perpendicular to each other also, and also to the direction of propagation. Both have same magnitude and direction at all, and the points in transverse plane which contain them. Now at low frequency, conductor follow the Ohm's law, but at high frequency, conductor behave as a transmission line and follow Maxwell equation. And as we know, the microwave frequencies are in gigahertz, which are very high as compared to the frequencies we are using earlier. So instead of following Ohm's law, they will follow the Maxwell equation. Again, the transmission line terminated by radiating component, or that radiating component is nothing but antenna, sees that E by H mutual field radiate in to the space. This is how the antenna is radiated. Now the curved wavefront in near field we are going to observe. For TEM wave, for in near field the wavefront are curved, but when the same wavefront goes very far away from the radiating element or the antenna, then those wavefront becomes flat. There are another terms, that is polarization. Now if the field E of an electromagnetic wave is in vertical direction, then the electromagnetic wave is said to be vertically polarized. If it is in the horizontal direction, the wave is said to be horizontally polarized wave. Now these orientation of electric fields are known as linear polarization. Also, it is necessary that the transmitting and receiving antenna must be mutually oriented with respect to the type of polarization used for max transfer of power. For an example, a car antenna is oriented in a vertical direction since the amplitude modulated signals transmitted are vertically polarized, whereas the rooftop TV antenna are oriented horizontally since conventional TV signals are transmitted with horizontal polarization. Now next we are having a circularly polarized wave. Now sometimes, as in the case of direct broadcast satellite service, the signal is circularly polarized. In fact, a satellite downlink links a signal with the simultaneous vertical and horizontal polarized wave. A circularly polarized wave is the resultant sum of two equal amplitudes E field vectors in phase quadrature, means one vector at 90 degree out of phase with the other. That is, a circular polarized wave contains all polarizations and all information of a linearly polarized wave, although at a reduced amplitude. The advantage of this type of polarization is that the antenna alignment will not be critical, and also the attenuation due to rain is reduced if circular polarization is used. Now in the below figure we can see the different polarization. In this case, this is the TEM wave. Now this is the direction of propagation, Z direction. Here this component is E component, and this component is magnetic component or the H component. Now we can say here this E, H and the direction all are at 90 degree or perpendicular to each other. Now this, in vertical polarization wave, we can see the direction of E component is in vertical direction. This is the antenna, these are the electric lines of forces which are aligned vertically. On the other case, in horizontal polarization, these E components are horizontally aligned like this. This is left hand circular polarization, in which this is the direction of propagation. These are the E field, electric field. Now this is moving towards left hand side. This is first component, then it becomes like this, it moves towards left side, then downward, then again it keep on moving in that pattern. Similarly, this is right hand circularly polarized wave. Again, this is the direction of propagation, and we can see this is the how the wave is going to circulate, or it is going to shift towards right hand side. So this is circularly polarized waves. Now if we assume that the source of radiations is an isotropic antenna, then TEM waves are propagated equally in all the direction. Now if that is an isotropic antenna, in that case, from this point a sphere forms similar to a balloon being blown up, equally expanding in the all direction. At a far away distance from the point source, the wavefront would appear as a flat plane, as I have already discussed. The spherical TEM wave is known as a plane wave, since the wavefront appears to be a two-dimensional shape, and the energy contained in the wavefront at a distance, suppose I say this small r, from the source, would distribute itself equally in all the direction over the sphere. So the area of this sphere is determined by the formula 4 pi r square, that is the surface area. The power density, this PD, at any point in free space as a function of total power PT is related to this total power by this particular formula. Power density will be equals to total power divided by the area, which gives this PT upon that area 4 pi r square. Now as power spreads out, sphere continues to expand. That depend upon this r. As we keep on increasing this distance of observation point from the source, then that imaginary sphere continues to expand. Now the energy is given by this formula, W equals to half of dE plus BH. Now this can be further expanded like this, that energy will be equal to this equation number 1. Now if we assume that there are no losses, that is under no loss condition, we can say these two, half of epsilon naught into Ez square will be equals to half of mu naught Hz square. These two terms are equal if we assume the no loss condition. So, and the ratio of E by H equals to under root of mu naught over epsilon naught. This is 120 pi or 377 ohm. This is known as free space impedance. This term will be used frequently in microwave, and also earlier if you have studied the antenna part, in that case also we have used this term free space impedance very frequently. Now here the D in this formula, D, this is electric flux density, that is B is magnetic flux density, epsilon naught that is permittivity of free space, mu naught permittivity of free space, Ez and Hz are the root mean square values of electric and the magnetic field strength vectors along the direction of propagation, which is here the z direction. That is why we have placed z here. Now the energy passing through each square meter of the plane perpendicular to the direction of propagation in each second is given by this, S equals to C multiplied by this W, where this W is this the total energy and this C is nothing but this is the velocity of light, we all know. So if we put the value of this W from previous equation, we will get S equals to C by 2 into this whole term, and from here we can say the S can be denoted by this particular formula, which is Ez square over 120 pi. Again here this is free space impedance 120 pi. Sometimes it is also represented by neta, and also this is also equals to Hz square over 120 pi. Now let us briefly discuss about the wave equations, which we will use directly in our further calculation. Now if we assume that all field vectors vary with respect to time t in a sinusoidal manner, then this capital E will be equals to E naught into e raised to power j omega t, where this E naught is the maximum value of electric field intensity, this E naught, and omega, this omega, which is also equals to 2 pi f, where f is the frequency of sinusoidal variation. Now if we differentiate this equation partially with respect to t, we will get curly E by curly t equals to E naught into e raised to power j omega t into j omega, and this term E naught e raised to power j omega t, this is nothing but this is E. So replacing this factor, this part of the equation by E, curly E by curly t can be written as E into j omega. From this we can say curly by curly t will be equals to j times omega. So here we can define one operator, that is curly by curly t equals to j omega. Now take this equation again and again differentiate it with respect to t, we will get curly square E over curly t square equals to e raised to E naught into e raised to power j omega t into j omega into j omega, which again in this equation also E naught into e raised to power j omega t, this is nothing but this is simply E. So if we replace this part of the equation by E, we will get this equals to minus of omega square into E. This is another operator, curly square over curly t square equals to minus of omega square. This operator, these two operators we will use in our further mathematical derivations. Now consider a medium which does not contain any free charges and is also non-conducting. For example, we can have air or the free space. Then for this free space medium, we have this rho equals to 0 and also sigma equals to 0. So from this first Maxwell equation, if we put the condition of free space in this Maxwell equation, we will see that this here J equals to epsilon of E. Now here because we are dealing with the free space, so this epsilon, this sigma will be 0, so this whole term will becomes 0, and this del cross H becomes equals to curly E by curly T, and this curly E by curly T, we have already defined one operator, that curly by curly T was equals to j omega. So we are going to replace this curly by curly T by j omega, so that the first equation can written as del cross H equals to epsilon j omega into E. Now again taking the second Maxwell equation, which states that del cross E equals to minus of curly B by curly T. So here also we are going to take the condition for medium which is free space. So in that case also del cross E, as we know, this is equals to minus curly B by curly T. So B here is, B can be represented as mu H. So this equation becomes, if we replace B here, this equation becomes minus curly mu H over curly T. Now this curly by curly T here, this curly by curly T is again replaced by j of omega, our first operator. So this second equation becomes del cross E equals to minus of j omega mu H. So this was first equation, Maxwell first equation. This becomes Maxwell second equation. Now del cross E equals to minus j omega mu H. This was our second Maxwell equation. If we take the curl of this equation, then del cross E will be equals to del cross into this whole term. Now here this term is 0, so by expanding further this equation, we can get an equation like this: delta square E equals to minus omega square mu epsilon of E. Similarly, from the first equation we can get del square H equals to minus omega square mu epsilon H. These two equations are the wave equation on which we are going to derive further equation in case of microwave. So these two equations are the basic wave equation. Now here if we replace minus of omega, that was our second operator, by delta curly square over curly T square, then our this equation becomes delta square E equals to curly square curly T square into mu epsilon of E. Further we can write this equation into this form: mu epsilon into curly square E over curly T square, which is equals to 1 over C square into curly square E over curly T square. Also in a similar fashion we can write the second equation also. This will be equals to 1 over C square into curly square over curly T square. Now as we know, from this equation we can write this delta square Ez equals to minus of omega square mu epsilon Ez for the TM wave, because we know in case of TM wave the Hz component will be 0. Hz is the component which should travel in the direction of propagation. So if we assume the wave is traveling in Z direction, in that particular case for TM wave Hz component will be 0. So this equation represents a TM wave. Similarly, the second equation, delta square Hz equals to minus of omega square mu epsilon Hz, this equation represents the TE wave, because in TE wave the electrical component will be 0 in the direction of propagation. So here we have assumed the wave is propagating in Z direction. So for TE wave Ez will be 0 and the equation will be written as like this. So this equation is for TM wave and this equation is for the TE wave. Now if this is the case, then Ez is equals to E of naught Z into E minus of gamma Z, where this E naught Z is the maximum value of electric field along the Z direction, and this gamma equals to alpha plus J times beta, where this gamma is propagation constant, this alpha is attenuation constant, and this beta is phase constant, which is equals to 2 pi by lambda. So taking this equation, Ez equals to E naught Z into E minus in E raised to power minus of gamma Z. If we differentiate this equation with respect to partially differentiate this equation with respect to Z, then we will get this equation curly Ez over curly Z equals to E naught Z into E raised to power minus of gamma Z into minus of gamma. Now here this term E naught Z into E raised to power minus of gamma Z, this is nothing but this is the Ez component, this. So from here we can define another operator, curly this curly over curly Z, this will be equals to this term, that is minus of gamma. So we can say the third operator, curly over curly Z equals to minus of gamma. Now again differentiating this equation, we will get curly square Ez over curly Z square equals to E naught Z into E raised to power minus gamma Z multiply by minus of gamma, again multiply by minus of gamma. Again this term is nothing but Ez component. So here if we replace this term by Ez, the equation becomes like this, Ez into gamma square. Now here we are going to define one another operator, that is curly square over curly Z square will be equals to gamma square. Now if we see this equation here, the condition for wave propagation is this gamma must be imaginary. This is very important equation which we will see in detail in our further lectures. Now to summarize, we already know the Maxwell equation, these four Maxwell equation. First is del cross H equals to J plus curly D by curly T, where this H is magnetic field vector and this J is conduction current density, and this curly d by curly t, this is displacement current density. Second equation, del cross E equals to minus of curly b by curly t. Third equation, del dot d equals to rho, where rho is the charge density, and the fourth equation, del dot b equals to 0. These are the two wave equation which we have derived earlier. These two equation, del square E equals to minus omega square mu epsilon E, and del square H equals to minus omega square mu epsilon H. Now these two wave equation in term of C we have already derived. We can also write these two equation, this and this, like this: del square E equals to 1 over C square into curly square E or curly T square, and also the second equation, del square H equals to 1 over C square into curly square H over curly T square. Now here the wave is propagating through a free space with the velocity of light. So these are also known as Helmholtz wave equation. Again, these are the four types of mode: transverse electromagnetic wave, TEM mode. Here the component in the electrical component Ez and the magnetic component in the direction of propagation, both these components are 0. Suppose we assume this is the direction of wave propagation. In that case, for TEM wave, the Ez and Hz both will be 0. Similarly, we have transverse electric. In this, our electrical component in the direction of propagation will be 0, whereas the magnetic component will be present. For the transverse magnetic mode, the electrical component in direction of propagation will be non-zero, and the magnetic component in direction of propagation will be 0. Similarly, the fourth one is the hybrid mode, in which both electric and the magnetic component are non-zero quantities in the direction of wave propagation. Also, we can expand our this equation, delta square E. If we expand this, we will get curly square E over curly x square plus curly square E over curly y square plus curly square E over curly z square. This is for the rectangular coordinate system. Similarly, this delta square E will be equals to curly square E over curly rho square plus 1 over rho into curly E over curly rho plus 1 over rho square curly square E over curly phi square plus curly square E over curly z square. This is for the cylindrical coordinate system, where rho is the radius vector which varies from 0 to a, phi is the angle vector which varies from 0 to 2 pi. This phi, it can maximum value of 2 pi, and z the propagation vector. Now the third is del cross H can be written like this. Similarly, del cross H in rectangular coordinate system can be written like this. We will use these each and every equation in the derivation part of our microwave signals. Now this we have already discussed. If wave is traveling along positive z direction, then this will be the equation, del square Ez equals to minus omega square mu epsilon Ez. This will be the equation for TM wave, and this will be the equation for the TE wave. So this is the basic part of electromagnetics which will be utilized, which will be used in the mathematical derivation in case of waveguides, where we will see how different modes will be propagating in a rectangular waveguide and in a circular waveguide. So this is all for today's lecture. Thanks for listening the lecture. Have a very nice day.